Welcome to another video. I am the Starman and I am here in Cornwall. I'm on the south coast of the UK. Can you see that behind me? That is St Michael's Mount. We're just across the way from Penzance, which is just out to my left hand side, just over here. We're in a place called Marazion. Yeah, little known name that actually, Marazion. But this is where St Michael's Mount is, here on the south coast. It's the middle of May as I record this. Now what am I doing down here on the south coast of England in Cornwall in the middle of May? Well, I'm here for astrophotography. I'm here to chase the Milky Way. That's what I'm here to do. Now the problem is I come from Blackpool, which is up in the northwest, and at this time of year, mid-May through June and into July, we get the everlasting twilight. But we don't quite get that down here on the south coast. Not yet, not until June. So we actually get pure darkness down here on the south coast right up into June, so that gives us a good chance to capture the Milky Way as it rises in the early hours of the morning. And I want to try and see if I can capture it. Hey, listen to that sea, doesn't it sound absolutely awesome as those waves lap up on the beach there. I want to try and capture the Milky Way as it rises over St Michael's Mount. It'll look absolutely spectacular. Now I did take a picture, oh it was a few years ago now, in fact I did a video down here a few years ago, and I just want to show you a picture from what I took back then. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 2018 or 19 or something like that. This is the picture I captured down there, and it's pretty spectacular, isn't it? It's amazing. I'm quite pleased with it. Can you see how the galaxy is rising above the mount there? Doesn't it look absolutely spectacular? It's so dark down here because we're looking out over the English Channel there, and there's no light pollution out that way. Now there is a fair bit of light pollution from Penzance over to that way, a couple of miles that way, and there's a little bit of light pollution this way as well, but we're not looking that way, we're looking that way out towards the channel over St Michael's Mount, and that's why this is a spectacular location to capture the Milky Way as it rises in the early hours of the morning at this time of year. And remember, I did say that they do get total darkness down here at this time of year. Not for very long. We get about 2 hours of total darkness where the sun drops below the horizon low enough so that we get complete darkness, where that does not happen up north. And if you live in somewhere like the Lake District or further north into Scotland, you're out of luck this time of year, I'm afraid, for the Milky Way. You can only really capture it in like a severe twilight. So that's why I've come down here. And I'll tell you what I want to do now. We're going to head back to the Starbus, which is just parked just up there in the car park, and I'm going to show you the equipment that I'm going to be using to hopefully capture the Milky Way tonight. Okay, so there's St Michael's Mount there, and I'm just in this car park here, and this is the Starbus here, and I thought I'd just show you what I'm using, what equipment I'm planning to use for this Milky Way shoot here. And as you can see, this is where I'm living at the moment. There's my bed there. This is all my camera gear here. I've got here my old camera system. I say old, I'm still using it. It's the Nikon system, which I've used for about 35 years. And just over here, I've got my new system, which I'm looking to use exclusively. Can I use the Panasonic system? We'll wait and see. We'll have to see. But at the moment, I'm using both. Now, I've got my Nikon D850 here, and currently I have the 50mm f1.8 lens on there. And I'm going to be using that for some of the shots. This is going to be my primary camera for tonight, actually, because I'm not quite used to the Panasonic at the moment, but I'll just describe what I've got. I've got the 50mm f1.8 on there. I've also got this very nice 20mm f1.8, which will be very good for the wide shot of the Milky Way. The 50mm will be very good for like a more compressed shot of the mount, against with the galaxy in the background. We'll see how that goes. I'll be trying that with the tracker. Probably with the tracker, that, because it's a bit longer. But anyway, this is a Panasonic S5II, and currently I have the 20 to 60mm f3.5 to 5.6 on it, but I won't be using that for any of the shots. At least I don't think I will be. I might experiment with it, but what I really want to use is this lens here. Can you see? It's an 18mm and it's an f1.8. So that lens is a pretty fast lens. It means, can you see there? Can you see if I turn it upside down? Can you see? f1.8. That means this lens is very, very fast and quite wide. It's actually wider than the 20mm f1.8 that I have for my Nikon. So I'll be giving this lens a good go on here, and we'll see how we do with that, shall we? That's what I'm going to be using. Okay, so that was a look at the camera equipment, and now I'm going to take a look at the tracking mount that I'm going to use. I've got this Fornax Lightrack II tracking mount, which I'm going to be using for some of my pictures, especially the one with the 50mm lens. It's quite important. 50mm lens, you're restricted to around about 10 seconds exposure if you're not using a tracker, but with this I can use a minute, 2 minutes exposure using a 50mm lens. I'll be stacking shots as well, and that'll get me some cracking detail, this tracker here. And these are some of the bits that I need to go with the tracker. I've got a geared head there, I've got a red light torch, I've got the power pack for the tracker there. In fact, I'm going to show you how to set this up right now. Okay, so here we go, how to set up a tracking mount. Well, I've got my tripod here, can you see? I've got the tripod there, and it's on the beach here. It's not quite level, the beach, so what I've had to do is I've had to level the tripod by just moving one of the legs down. We want the tripod to be level, and there's no head on it at the moment, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my box here, and I'm going to pick up this Manfrotto 410 geared head, and I'm going to put that on there. It's a very, very easy way to align the tracking mount with the North Star. So I'll put this on there like that. And there you go. We've now got the geared head on there. The next thing to do is to put the tracker on. There's my tracker there. Let's put that on now. Okay, so here we go. I've now got the tracking mount on the geared head, and I've swung it round so it faces this way, because north is actually this way roughly. It's roughly that way. And I'm going to have a polar scope in there, and the polar scope is going to point this way, that way towards the North Star. Hopefully we'll get it aligned with the North Star, and we'll do that by twiddling these knobs here, up and down, left and right. We'll get the tracker aligned with the North Star. There's one more thing I need to put on there, and that's the ball head for the camera to go on. Okay, so I've now completed the tracker setup. Now I've put the ball head on here on top of the tracker, which is on top of the geared head, so it's a little bit complicated, but I've shown you how to do it. Tripod, geared head or wedge, whatever you're using, tracker, ball head, so that you can move your camera around. The camera can be moved and pointed any way. It doesn't matter which way it's pointed. As long as the tracker's set up, it will track for the night sky, and you'll get nice sharp stars no matter how long you expose for. Now, I've currently got my 50mm lens on here with the Nikon D850. Can you see that, the 50mm? This is the setup that I'm hoping to use tonight to get those spectacular shots of the stars behind St Michael's Mount over there. A more compressed shot of the stars rather than that typical wide field Milky Way that I got, kind of like the picture I got last time, a more compressed view of the stars behind the mount there. Anyway, there you go. I forgot to tell you, of course I need power for the tracker, so I'm going to have that on the floor. That's my power unit, and I've also got this cable here which will go from that there to the tracker, and that will power the tracker. So there you go, that's us all set up for later on. Will it be clear to the Milky Way? So there you go, that's all my equipment for how I'm going to be setting up to take these Milky Way photos coming over the amazing St Michael's Mount there. I've got quite a lot of equipment, haven't I? And I'm using a new system as well with the Panasonic system. Will I be able to cope with the new system? We'll have to wait and see. If the weather's not going to be clear enough tonight, we do have quite a bit of cloud around, but it is forecast to be clear. It could be partly cloudy. We don't know. If it's clear over there, that's good enough for me. I might have to come back tomorrow night and try again, but we'll see. Hopefully you will see me again later on tonight, and we'll be out here photographing the Milky Way. Okay, I'm back now, and it's night time. As you can tell, it's pretty dark. I'm sat in the Starbus at the moment. Now, it's actually the day after I filmed that introduction, because on that night, unfortunately, the clouds didn't quite clear enough, and it was a little bit murky-manky. Couldn't really see a whole lot. I took this picture here, which I'll put on the screen now, and I managed to get a few stars. In fact, I managed to capture Antares. That sort of orange star there, but you can see you can see a few stars. That's Scorpius, by the way, Scorpius, the constellation of the the Scorpion, the zodiacal constellation just above the mount there, but that's all I got on the first night, unfortunately. I'll tell you something else as well. There's a heck of a lot of light pollution coming from near Penzance. I think it's a railway yard. Some lady told me, she said, oh, I think it's something to do with the railway. I turned the camera around to take a photograph. I actually did this tonight as I was just out just taking some test pictures. Just look at this light pollution coming from this yard. It's like a football field. It's absolutely insane. That light pollution coming from over there is criminal. But anyway, it's nice and clear tonight. It's now the Saturday night and we're going to go into the Sunday morning, and the weather is actually set fair to be clear, so hopefully I'll get some things done and I'll try and take you through some of what I'm doing, and hopefully I'll be able to have some good pictures to show at the end. But anyway, I've just been out to take a test picture. It's only about 11:30 now. I need to wait until a bit later on, early in the morning, maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, before we start to get that Milky Way, because it hasn't really got going yet. It's not really risen properly yet. But you can see from this picture I put on the screen now, you can see we've got a lot clearer night tonight. We can see some nice stars out there. So it's not looking too bad, and I'm looking forward to getting out there and trying and seeing what I can do with my new camera and having to play with the tracker, and let's see what we can get, shall we? Right, let's have a little look outside, shall we? I'll just give you a quick look inside the Starbus. There's my bed there. I'm going to make that up a bit later on, so I'll have something to sleep on, but that's going to be my room for the night in there. But if I could just show you live now, just over here, can you see? Look at that light there. Can you see those floodlights over? This is what I'm talking about. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, and that's Penzance over there. Can you see all that over there? It looks absolutely amazing, by the way. It's just a shame about those floodlights. And as we look this way, you won't see anything because it's pretty pitch black over there. But St Michael's Mount is pretty much where those lights are, right in the middle of the screen now. Yep. Okay, so I'm now out now, and I've got my camera set up. Now, I'm not on the beach. I was actually intending to go down onto the beach down there, but I decided against it, and I'm staying up here on the promenade because it's so much easier to set up my camera. I've got my tracker set up here. Everything's all set up like I showed you the day before on the beach. So it's looking really, really good. I can see the stars. I can see Scorpius, actually. Scorpius looks spectacular. And I can also see Virgo as well. And the Milky Way is just starting to get going. Now, at the moment, I've stuck a 50mm lens on my D850. So what I want to do now is I want to get the lens focused. So let's focus the lens and see if we can do that then, shall we? Before we actually take a picture. So I'll just show you how to focus. This is one thing that I tend to forget. Now, you see those lights on the screen here? This is actually the mount, St Michael's Mount. And those lights there kind of give it away. You can't see it because of the exposure, because it's not that sensitive enough. But if I zoom in on that light there, can you see? It's a bit of a blob, but if I grab hold of the focusing ring, which I can do, I can manually focus. Can you see how it gets a bit bigger there? I go the wrong way. But if I bring it the other way, this is all manual, by the way. Go the other way, and if I get that to as small a blob as I can, or a smaller point, should I say, it's in focus. Okay, now that looks to be in focus. Yeah, okay, so now that I've got this 50mm lens focused, I'm going to turn the tracker on, and then I'm going to take a photograph for 1 minute, and let's see how it comes out, shall we? Okay, I forgot to tell you that that photograph was taken wide open with the lens f1.8, and the ISO was 1600 for 1 minute. And let's have a little look what we've got. I'll just show you the back. Oh, look at that. That's really, really bright. Oh, look at that. Can you see that, folks? We can see the Milky Way there. Wow, look at that. I'll put the picture on the screen for you in a minute, but if you just look at that, can you see those star clouds there? Now notice that St Michael's Mount is blurring. Can you see? That's because the tracker's running. I'm going to put that picture on the screen now for you to have a look at. I might just tweak it a little bit in post as well, but it looks absolutely amazing. Notice that again, like I said there, the mount, the foreground will be blurry because the tracker is tracking for the sky. So what I need to do now is I need to take a load of pictures, or I'll take a few pictures for the sky and stack them, and then I'll also take a few for the foreground and I'll stack them all together, and I'll be able to make a final picture, which I'll see if I can put on at the end of this the video. But that's pretty good for the 50. I'm now going to try a different lens on there now, and we'll try for a different type of photograph. Okay, I've now stuck my 20mm f1.8 lens on, and this is quite a bit wider, of course. It's 2.5 times wider than the 50mm, and it's going to capture a lot more sky. The same exposure, same aperture, f1.8 ISO, and let's see how this one comes out, shall we? Quite a bit wider field of view with this one. So there you go, I'm just putting that picture on the screen now, you can check that out. I don't know if I'll get a chance to process all of these in for this video, but I'll certainly do another video where I'll show all of these pictures properly, fully processed. Because what I need to do is I need to run them through Photoshop. I also need to stack them, and then I need to combine the images so that they can make one image of the foreground and the stars. I'll probably do that in another video, I think. Right, okay, so now I think it's time to stick on my new camera. I've got the Panasonic S5II, and I want to use that with the 18mm f1.8 lens that I've got for it. This is the moment of truth, my new camera. Can I work it? Okay, so I've now put the Panasonic S5 on here, and we're going to try it out for the first time. I just want to quickly show you the back. I'll do my best. Now the screen does look quite a bit different to the back of this one. We've got a level meter on there, which is great. It's just showing a little bit off level at the moment, but we can see the lights. It's sensitive enough to show the lights. Now I don't know if you can tell, but those lights there, which is Marazion, it's like a little town over there, that's those lights down there. Now those are lit up in blue, and that means that they are in focus. It's like a sort of focus peaking. This is a thing that I can now use to focus. I'm focusing manually on it as well. Now down here is all the information, and we've actually got a 60-second shutter speed that I can do on this. I can only go to 30 on my other camera. Can you see we've got f1.8 there, and I'm shooting at ISO 1600 like I was for the other ones. So there you go, that's the settings. I'm going to turn the tracker on, and we'll try this Panasonic out for the first time with the f1.8 18mm lens. I think it's going to look pretty good. Let's see what it's like, shall we? Well, look at that. This is what's just come out of the camera on the tracker. So the stars will be nicely tracked, the foreground will be a little bit blurred. Now I've already taken a shot for the foreground as well, and I must say this lens looks absolutely sharp. I'll just show you the foreground image. Oh, this looks absolutely amazing, this lens. What, for the first go, I think this is a winner. What do you think, folks? So there you go, that was pretty good, wasn't it? For the first picture taken using the Panasonic S5II camera here with my fancy new f1.8 18mm lens, which is going to be my main go-to astro lens, I think now. I think I'm going to leave it there now, folks. I think if I do any more processing with the pictures, I will put them on at the end. But I think for now, I think I've done pretty well. What do you think, folks? I've had to come out here in the darkness. It's now just coming up to 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm starting to get a little bit tired now, but I think I'm probably going to carry on. Oh, I'll tell you another thing as well. I've also had a problem tonight with dew. It's very, very damp out here. The last lens I had on my other camera, my D850, the 20mm lens, it dewed over. Oh, it got really, I'll show you a picture that I took. It got really, really fuzzy. Oh, it was shocking, it was, yeah. So it's really, really damp tonight. And that can be a problem when you're out shooting the stars, doing star trek, or out for a long time. Your lens can fog over. And once your lens starts to fog over, well, you can wipe it, but you know, you're going to have problems, and you're probably better off just changing the lens or trying to warm it up in some way. Maybe put a heater band on it or something. I don't have any of those. If I've got some pictures, I'll stick them on at the end. But anyway, I hope you like this video, and look out for some more videos like this one. And don't forget to keep looking up.